You think you see people clearly? But what if I told you that every single day you're being lied to? Not by words, by something far more dangerous, by the silence between the words, by the smile that doesn't reach the eyes, by the hand that gestures just a little too quickly. You've felt it, haven't you? That nagging sensation when someone says, "I'm fine," but everything in your gut screams otherwise. That moment when you shake someone's hand and feel nothing. Or worse, you feel everything they're trying to hide. Here's what most people don't understand. We're all walking around wearing masks, every single one of us, and the tragic part, most people don't even know they're wearing one. Think about your last conversation. Really think about it. Were you listening to what was said, or were you preparing your next response? Were you present, or were you performing? This is the prison most people live in. They believe that communication is about words. They think that if someone says something, that's the truth. They take everything at surface level, and because of this, they go through life blind, missing signals, misreading intentions, connecting with masks instead of souls. And you've probably done this too. You've probably smiled when you wanted to scream. You've probably said yes when every fiber of your being screamed no. You've probably pretended to be interested when you were dying inside from boredom. We all do it. The question is, why? Nietzsche understood something profound about human nature. He said, "We are unknown to ourselves, we men of knowledge, and with good reason." We have never sought ourselves. How could it happen that we should ever find ourselves? Read that again, slowly. We don't even know ourselves, so how can we possibly read others? But here's where it gets interesting. Here's where everything changes. Nietzsche also discovered something revolutionary. The very things people hide most desperately are the keys to understanding them completely. Their fears, their shame, their unspoken desires. These aren't weaknesses to exploit. They're windows into the human soul. Every micro-expression, every pause, every shift in posture, every change in breathing, these are the tells. The unconscious broadcasts that reveal what words never could. You see, the body doesn't lie, it can't. While the conscious mind constructs elaborate facades, the body betrays truth in 1,000 tiny ways. A hand touching the neck during a difficult question, eyes darting left when recalling a fabricated memory, feet pointing toward the exit when someone wants to leave, but politeness keeps them trapped. But most people never notice these things. They're too busy listening to the wrong channel. They're tuned into words when they should be reading the silence. They're watching the performance when they should be observing the performer. Let me show you what you're missing. When someone crosses their arms, you probably think they're being defensive. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're just cold. Sometimes they're simply comfortable that way. The arms themselves mean nothing. It's the timing that matters. It's the context. It's what happened in the 5 seconds before they crossed their arms. Did you challenge their belief? Did you question their identity? Did you make them feel unsafe? That's the real information. Not the gesture itself, but what triggered it. This is what separates those who see from those who are blind. The blind look at isolated behaviors. The seeing observe patterns across time. They track the baseline. They notice when something shifts. They understand that every human being has a unique language, and learning to speak it requires patience, attention, and genuine curiosity. But here's the part nobody talks about. Here's the shadow side of this ability. Once you learn to read people, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to innocent conversations. You start noticing when your partner is lying about being okay. You catch your boss masking anxiety with false confidence. You see your friends performing friendship instead of feeling it. And this knowledge, it's heavy because now you have a choice. Do you call out the lie? Do you pretend you don't see it? Do you honor their mask because sometimes people need their masks to survive? Nietzsche warned us about this. He said, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely often, and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. To truly see others, you must first be willing to see yourself. And that's terrifying. Because what you'll find isn't pretty. You'll find your own masks, your own lies, your own desperate performances. You'll realize that when you judge someone for being fake, you're being fake too. You'll see that when you criticize someone for hiding, you're hiding twice as much. This is the mirror principle, and it's ruthless. But here's the revelation. When you stop running from your own shadow, when you finally accept the full spectrum of who you are, the light and the dark, the noble and the petty, something miraculous happens. You become fluent in humanity. Because now you're not reading people from a place of judgment. You're reading them from a place of recognition. This is the difference between the manipulator and the empath. Both can read people, but one uses it to take, the other uses it to give. And here's what most people get wrong about empathy. No. Real empathy is seeing someone exactly as they are and choosing to connect anyway. It's witnessing their performance and loving the performer beneath it. It's catching them in a lie and giving them space to tell the truth. This is power. Not the power to control, the power to liberate. When you truly see someone, that's when transformation becomes possible. That's when masks can finally come off. That's when real connection happens. But it requires courage from both sides. It requires you to stop hiding too. Think about the people in your life right now. How many of them actually see you? How many of them see past your performance to the person beneath? How many of them would you trust with your full truth? 1, 2, none? Now flip it. How many people do you truly see? How many do you give permission to be fully themselves around you? Even the parts that are difficult, messy, inconvenient. This is where most people fail. They want to be seen, but they don't want to see. They want authenticity from others while maintaining their own facade. They demand honesty while practicing deception. And then they wonder why they feel alone. Nietzsche said, "The lonely one offers his hand too quickly to whomever he encounters." You feel that, don't you? That desperation for connection, that hunger to be known, that exhaustion from performing. But here's what you need to understand. You can't skip steps. You can't demand intimacy without offering vulnerability. You can't expect others to remove their masks while you're still wearing yours. The paradox is this: the moment you stop trying to be seen and start actually seeing others, you become magnetic. People feel it when you're truly present with them. They sense when you're not performing, they recognize when you're offering real attention instead of polite distraction, and they're drawn to it, desperately. Because it's so rare. In a world full of people scrolling, half listening, waiting for their turn to talk, the person who truly sees is revolutionary. So let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly, not to me, to yourself. When was the last time you had a conversation where you weren't thinking about what to say next? Where you weren't checking the time? Where you weren't performing being interested but actually were interested? When was the last time you asked someone how they were and actually waited for a real answer? When you made space for silence instead of filling it with noise? When you noticed what they didn't say instead of just processing what they did? This is the practice. This is the training ground. Every conversation is an opportunity to see or to sleepwalk. Every interaction is a choice between connection and performance. Every moment with another human being is either presence or absence. And here's the thing they don't tell you. This isn't a skill you master once and you're done. It's a practice, a discipline, a constant choice. Because the default mode is blindness. The default is performance. The default is hiding behind words and pretending that's communication. Breaking that default requires intention, requires energy, requires giving a damn when it's easier not to. But the rewards are everything. Imagine moving through the world able to sense what people need before they ask, able to offer comfort that actually lands, able to challenge people in ways that help them grow, able to build relationships based on truth instead of mutual pretense. This is what's possible when you learn to read not just people but the human condition itself. And in the next step, you're going to discover the specific signals that most people miss completely, the micro patterns that reveal everything. The unconscious tells that separate truth from fiction, the invisible language that's been broadcasting all around you your entire life. But before we get there, you need to make a decision. Are you willing to see yourself first? Are you ready to drop your own masks? Can you handle the loneliness that sometimes comes with clarity? Because once you cross this threshold, there's no going back. Once you see, you can't unsee. Once you wake up, you can't fall back asleep. This is both the gift and the burden of awareness. But I believe you're ready. I believe you didn't make it this far in this message by accident. Something in you is hungry for this. Something in you knows that you're meant for deeper connection, for real intimacy, for authentic relationship. That hunger, that's your truth calling. And the beautiful thing is this. The moment you start truly seeing others, you start seeing yourself more clearly too. The moment you stop judging their masks, you release the need to wear your own. The moment you offer others the gift of being fully witnessed, you give yourself permission to be fully alive. This is the transformation that's possible right now. Every conversation can be different. Every relationship can shift from transaction to connection. But it starts with a choice. Your choice. So here's what I want you to do. Think about someone in your life. Someone you interact with regularly. Maybe it's a partner, a friend, a colleague, a family member. And I want you to share in the comments, what's one mask you see them wearing? And more importantly, what's one mask you wear around them? Be honest, be vulnerable, be brave. Because the moment you name it, the moment you acknowledge it, the power of the mask starts to dissolve. And who knows, maybe they're reading this too. Maybe they're ready to drop their mask at the same time you drop yours. Maybe this is the beginning of something real. The invisible has been speaking to you your entire life. Are you finally ready to listen?